To all the new Year 12s. I mean, you've already started, you've already had the first term go by, and you've got a whole year left ahead of you. The first thing I want to note is that this isn't everything. And I know that everyone says that, but seriously, you should not make study your life. Yes, it is important, but understand why it is important. It can help you get a better position into getting into the university you want, but that's it. In terms of connections, in terms of networking, in terms of job opportunities, studying won't help you achieve that. Maybe if you get into the right school, it can put you in the right position to get those things. But in terms of getting them within the next 7 years, or maybe not that long, depending what sort of degree you're doing, 2 years, whatever, that is going to be you, your skills, and what you do beyond the classroom. Because at least the one thing that I made sure last year, while I maybe didn't achieve exactly what I wanted to achieve in the classroom, what I did do was make sure I put myself in the best position possible, where regardless of my marks, I could still do exactly what I wanted anyway. I could still build my business, I could still build my skills and my expertise, my connections within the industry. And that means now, first year into uni, I'm in a position where if I... Hello. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I was, and then it was windy. I made sure to make these connections because I knew that it would put me ahead of everyone else. Because the people that I really want to work with aren't the people that purely focus on marks. They're the ones who look at your background, who look at your experience, who are passionate and driven as you are in the field that you choose. And if they're only looking at marks to determine that, they're probably the wrong person to deal with. Where if they're looking at, wow, you've done this incredible portfolio, you've got these incredible skills, you really help me out, you bring value to whatever I'm doing and want you to be a part of it, that's exactly the person that you want to work for, and that's what I've ended up doing. Does that mean you shouldn't care about marks at all? No, of course not. You should try, because it can really help you in a good position academically to get in the right course that you want to do, learn the right skills so you can get into the job that you want to do, right? But know its place, and that, as I said before, it isn't everything here. So we established that marks are important, but how do you actually get those marks? The two biggest things that I learned, which would have helped me a lot more throughout the year, is one, momentum. And that's not my thing, that's what I was taught from a good mate. And that was that you want to keep that going because there's something extremely difficult to get going. It's really hard to go from nothing to something, but it's really easy to go from something to something more. So even if that just means opening a textbook, you don't even have to read anything, just open it. Just have the action of going to study. And that means when you start getting to exam time, it's not hard to go from, as I said before, nothing to something. You're already opening the textbook, now you just have to read a paragraph. And then the next day, okay, now you just have to read a page. And all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to prepare for these exams, these assessments, and input knowledge. Also on top of that, it's about getting long-term fluency. Try to remember everything at the last minute is really difficult and you're probably not going to be able to understand it well and be able to put it effectively into writing. But what you can do is if you understand and learn it over a long period of time, which became very clear within language subjects, it makes the process of being able to actually understand it, interpret it, and convey it much, much easier, and you're not having to bulk memorize everything at the last minute because you already know exactly what you need to know, essentially. And for example, if you're doing the language speaking, it means I'm not having to memorize vocab. I already know the vocab. All I have to do is know what I'm talking about. So the one biggest tip that I would have though at the end of all of this is not to just not worry too much about studying, nor just building skills in your preferred area that you want to pursue, but also really prioritizing the social aspect, hanging out with friends, spending time with them. And in regards to that, if someone says, hey, do you want to hang out tomorrow? Don't worry about it and say, oh, well, maybe I've got to study for my maths exam. Maybe yes, if it's the night before, this might be a good idea. But make it your utmost priority. Really try and do this to the most extent, where you are going to say yes to that social hangout. And this is different if you're already hanging out every single day of the week. Someone like me who rarely hung out with people anyway. Like if someone says, hey, can we do this? Absolutely say yes and spend that time having fun with those people because you don't know when it will go away. And in regards to then where do you fit everything else around it? That's your job to fit everything else around it. The amount we procrastinate, well, there's plenty of times to hang out with friends, but we just fill it with that time where we're doing nothing, trying to avoid something else. So then it's your problem then to go, okay, well that's gonna happen on the Sunday, that hangout, well I've got to finish my work beforehand. And it's a great way to get it done early, or okay, I may have to do it afterwards because this is coming up now. But make sure you don't hide those times away. Make sure you don't try and diminish those moments because that's the biggest priority. And that's what I'm proud, at least I was doing throughout my year 12. That's what I recommend to you to prioritize throughout this next year. And bonus point to you guys also is, don't think that you have to know what you're doing now. Many people would come to me and say, hey Parker, you know exactly what you're going to do and I don't know anything. And I don't know what I want to do. It's just like my 7th pivot. I've done so many things throughout high school. I've done stop motion, I've done basketball, I've done magic, I've done other just generic film and photography. And this just happens to be the pivot that I'm doing now. It doesn't mean I'll do it forever. I may decide in a year that I hate it and want to change it up. But you just have to choose something and go with it. And you know best by what to choose by doing everything, and you realize, actually, I don't like doing that. I know I'm going to stay away from that. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Is there something within that I want to do? And there is a big difference between I like the idea of doing something versus I actually wake up and do it. Because I had an interest in film photography, etc., obviously, and I didn't know whether I wanted to do feature films or not. I did a film course at AFTRS and I loved it. But then I went and spoke to one of my dad's colleagues, brothers, who kind of worked in the film and video game industry. And he made the point that, as I said before, there is a big difference between people who come to him and want to be a writer because they love the idea of writing versus actually wake up and write every single day. And I'm like, well, I don't wake up and write every single day. I don't write scripts, I don't look at feature films, but what do? I love the creative economy, what's in it, so can I make something out of this? And that's what I then looked at over the next, 18 months is there a way that I can genuinely make this a career? What avenues are there? Can I make businesses out of this, etc.? And turns out that's what I'm end up pursuing now. May change in a couple of years, who knows? But it is just that new direction that I have chosen. So in the end of all of this, have fun, enjoy it. You're hanging around with your high school friends probably for the last time. So just make the most of it. Don't worry about studying too much. Do what you can. Whatever you achieve, there's plenty of avenues to get there regardless. And just try everything, because you don't want to get to the end of the year and be like, I absolutely have no idea. Start now, start experimenting, try 100 different avenues, talk to 100 different people in those 100 different genres you think you're interested in, and you can find out very quickly whether it is something you actually want to do long term. But good luck in the next year, enjoy. And if you want to see why I don't miss high school, you can watch this video right here. And if you want to learn more about the creator economy, feel free to watch this video right here. But I shall see you guys in the next one.